Hello, world, and welcome to another edition of the L5R ENF Talk video podcast. I'm the man talking at the back of the movie theater, Paul Ashman, and I am joined by the fella who refuses to wear his protective mask when he's walking around downtown China. And man, those air particulates, you're gonna die too young, Jesse. You gotta do something. That is,
It's
of course, the great Grabowski.
What's up, guys? It's disgusting out here. I wish you'd given me a heads up. I can throw a picture. While we do some deck talky stuff, I'll work
I
on throwing a picture up onto the screen of
I
what.
have been told that it's not that bad, and I learned that from a gentleman in the Untapped chat room just moments ago.
So Untapped. Let's talk about Untapped. Untapped is a great tool. Obviously, we use
This
it
is what we
pretty
use.
regularly. This is how
It's
we do
pretty
these
much
videos.
it's the only thing anyone uses, referenced in the Imperial here. There's some online Twitch streamers, and I guess that's cool if you love listening to just one guy talk instead of two.
That's right. I love the idea. So Twitch. Oh, we have too many. We have too many directions. Let's stick with Untapped. Let's stick with Untapped. So Untapped is something that has it's been around L5R for a long time. We've played it. We've played with the game. We've played with Panku. There was the launcher for 2 hot seconds, and now we have Untapped. We finally have a place to play cards online, but we got to share our space with Magic the Gathering players.
Of which we are Magic the Gathering, but we're part of that fraternity.
But not only are they Magic the Gathering players, they're Magic the Gathering players who are too cheap to buy Magic cards, which
Or play Magic Online. That's really the
right.
one for me.
So you're looking at people that fall primarily in the high school set. So you really get some good. If you ever sit there in between games and just scroll up a little bit and see what people have been talking about, you get some great stuff. You get some Ron Paul people in the mix. You get some Jewish, like, let's just be openly racist people in the mix.
My definite favorite are the guys who are on Untap and have declared themselves masters of the Magic universe. I use it a little bit for legacy testing. Actually, you don't know this, but I'm thinking about going to the Grand Prix in New Jersey, which is a legacy Grand Prix, and I'm probably gonna play the big mono red prison deck with Trinispheres and Blood Moon because nothing screams entertainment like shutting your opponent out of the game on turn one.
Yep.
Uh, and I was playing and I crushed a blue white red Delver deck, which I guess is now Jeske Delver deck. And he was telling me sort of like how unplayably bad my deck is, and I'm just like, dude, you're playing on Untapped. There's no possible way that you're any player of great skill or note because you'd at least have accrued enough money and victory to be playing on Magic Online.
Yep. Whoa, this is not working at all. Let's see if I can resize this. So I've thrown this picture up on the stream. It's now completely taken over everything. Let's fit this. Here we go. Okay, so this
much
is
much as
this.
much as the fog of the actual city, it has
That's right.
taken over
So
everything.
so you can't see it, Paul, but all of our viewers can. This is a picture that I took near my house. And what's interesting about this picture, there is no fog in this picture. And Paul, you've seen this one before. It's
I
vile.
have.
This was
It's
the
good.
worst. In fairness, this was the worst day of last year. Everybody was talking about it. I was sent a picture of from Reddit. I don't read Reddit myself. Good lord, but of somebody's mask filter. It was just all black, disgusting. Uh, but then, yeah, in the Untapped chat, I was privileged enough to drop in while some people were talking about China, and one guy was telling all about how, yes, China's great, China's awesome, everybody should go there. The pollution isn't even that bad. Everybody's so friendly. Everything's perfect. Like, well, whatever, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't work out so well for me. I went just to, I'm a preacher of the good word, and I went to proselytize to China, and that did not turn out so well for the Ashman.
All right. Well, I see the flagrant lying portion of the podcast is now over.
I wanted to make a comment about how they're not the kindest to the good Christian folk.
I can tell
Uh,
some stories about proselytizers in China, but I'll leave it for another podcast. Let's
and then,
we got about 5 minutes of banter in. Let's whiplash over to
yep, yep,
L5R.
here we go. Hard turn, hard turn. Everybody, hold on.
Peace.
So I am playing a Crane Honor deck. I think Honor in Strict is a very good victory condition. I think you'll see Honor decks that work out of Lion, Honor decks that work out of Phoenix, Honor decks that work out of Crane. I don't think Dragon have one, but I don't think Dragon players and the card pool doesn't really steer it in that direction. And please, for the love of God, don't try to play Mantis on it. Just don't. Like, I understand that it was once a deck a long time ago. And I guess not that long ago, depending on your framework, but just stay away from the Mantis Honor deck for a little while, okay? Pro player tip. So this is a Crane Honor deck, and unlike the Phoenix deck that we've featured recently, this is just a more traditional. I've got actual honor producing holdings. I've got a couple of honor gains from cards in hand. Do I? I mean, I at one point or another I had favors and wheels within wheels. I don't anymore. Now it's just an challenge. But what makes this deck really interesting is that, Crane, gifted as they are with so many options, actually get to play a decent amount of attrition, right? So Kinta makes a ranged 4 attack, kills some things. I've got 4 Chi Doji Atsuke who gets to bow to benefits of honor, so he'll make a ranged 4 attack. And then I've got Burai to reduce some force a little bit, and then standard send home stuff, block supply lines, Imperial summons, progressive, all pulled together with the long-term fruition. So I'm going to try to shoot a couple of guys, run a few guys home, play a flashy technique here or there, use official sanctions and oppressions, and just try to, stay alive while killing a couple of things and crossing 40. The deck can go very fast. You've got the Kabukis and the Carpenter Shrine and the PPG, so the full suite of honor-gaining holdings. And against other honor decks, you're probably just faster, but in the event that you're not, you got Doji Shiraru, who's really solid. Assuming you flip a decent focus, your focus is a little scattered, but generally it's greater than 2, so works out really well for you. And that is my Crane Honor deck. It's not exciting, it's not surprising, and there's a couple of different options. You can overload send home. You have multiple 3/6/9. You have multiple Samurai with 3 PH if you want to play Soul Sack as another send home option. But I'm pretty happy with where I am right now.
So this is a deck that's important to build and play against early in a new format. The first honor deck we went to was the Phoenix spell deck. That was me being me. It had a rocky start and some suboptimal build stuff, but it's important to just build the honor deck and to just
Yep.
see where it's at, because when honor is really good, honor is really really good. When you don't have to play the military game, you don't even have to fight the same fight. You just sit back and do your thing, and they flail about hopelessly, and then you suddenly win the game. And when that strategy works, that's exactly where you want to be. So it's like going from the lowest hanging fruit to the highest. And the honor is always low. The deck's easy to build. Here's some honor gaining holdings. Here's some guys. Here's some attrition. Let's see what happens.
And I've got a little bit of sort of Ashmany sauce in here. I'm playing Show No Mercy. I'm playing Benefits of Honor. And then I'm playing the Planned Departures and Discretionary Valors to run them home. But you can play Discretionary Valor, Planned Departure, and you could just cut the ranged attack cards for just more generic send home effects and port this deck. If you put in Seeking the Way and Soul Sack, you have the Fate deck you need to play Lion Honor, right? And then your personality is just the Lion Shugenja and the one that straightens the fortifications, and you probably don't play Poorly Placed Gardens, and you probably don't play Kabukis. But I mean, it's very easy to convert these shells to different factions if your deck has any bit of honor in it. And they're just good. I just think Crane is probably the best. I think it's probably the fastest. I think that the minor little attrition effects are very useful. And so I went with Crane. But if not Crane Honor, you gotta play against a just sit, send you home, gain honor kind of deck. And if you don't play against them, and if you don't plan for them, and if you don't think about them, you will lose to them.
Absolutely. And there's always another question of honor usually falls somewhere in the middle of the tier two, top of tier two, middle of tier
Yeah,
one.
it's hard to say because formats are fluid and different. I mean, people forget that there was a broken Crane Honor deck in Emperor Edition that got errated out pretty quickly,
Right
right? It got
before it was
banned
even
out,
played. My
right?
point, the point that I'm coming to though, is that it's a deck that's very metagame dependent. The reason
Yeah.
why it tends to fall in that position is because they print cards like Time of War, Price of Peace, these sorts of cards
Yep.
that just
There's
keep the
one
deck
right
down
now.
hard.
Yep. If you want to beat Honor, you always can. And the best L5R deck in the history of the game is always sort of a mid-game military deck out of some faction. But if people aren't thinking about Honor, if they're choosing to just put their head down and ignore it, it's a great deck and it'll win. And Brian Fox has made a career out of that.
Which is what people have been doing for the last, at least for this last Kote season.
Right.
So it
Oh
is something
yeah.
to keep your mind
So
on.
so who? Palmer's girlfriend.
Amanda,
Like
yeah.
yeah. Mel.
Oh,
I had a joke with her where it's like I couldn't beat Crane on it with the spider deck I was playing, and my hope was to just never play her, right? But she's the only person in the world playing that deck. But I also knew that she's a good player and it's a good deck, and I will probably run into that deck. In fact, I'll probably run into her at Gen Con. So I specifically switched gears to a Lion deck that could beat Honor because I didn't want to lose to her anymore. Stupid girl, get out of my game!
it worked. You beat her.
And it did work in a closer game than I think I generally would have had. But yeah, so I chose to take Honor into consideration to make sure I could beat it. And I will as long as I keep running into her, which is probably forever. And that's that, right? It happened with Gen Con the year before, where if you didn't have something for Faceless, you lost to it.
There you go.
Them's the breaks.
On my end, I'm playing a crab deck. This is a Paul Ashman crab deck, so it's going to be pretty okay. It's got a bit of sauce. Crab is well positioned, I think, in strict because their guys tend to be slightly more gold efficient than everybody else's. You've got lots of 6 gold for 4 force guys,
Yep. When you're
which
opposed, it's just here's a bunch of 5 force guys, which is just a number that is big enough to require a lot of investment.
yep, 5 is the number where you want to be. Everything's geared around 3 and 4 in the ranged melee and fear attack categories. So when you present a single 5 force guy, it can be a headache because they've got to show a deliberations, and that's pretty much it, or some kind of combined range attack. When you show 3 5 force guys, things get trickier. So that's what Crab
Yep.
can do.
And the format just isn't at a point right now where there's a lot of great actions, right? So they need to have multiple bow a thing without attachment cards. Well, there's not a lot of those that are just there's not a ton of entrenched positions. There's no entrenched positions. So what lines up well against it? Multitudes of Centom, I guess. But other than that, and you can play a ton of straighten if you want. You can play some move back in if you want. So it's depending on how you feel your metagame shapes up. It's just a deck that puts a lot out there.
Yeah, and the thing is because you have so much force, your Fate deck has space to run cards that are a little bit more reactionary than you would normally play. So we
Yeah.
get to run cards like Relentless, and like Way of the Crab, like Turtle Shell, that just sort of get people
Yep.
good. What's saucy about this deck and what's Ashmany about this deck is Yatsuki Makoto, and the gold scheme is all 2 for 2s. I think there's been some amount of flailing in strict generally, people trying to figure out exactly what to do with the gold now that we don't have 4 for 4s, we don't have JPI. This
You see a
is
lot of blessing, right? The blessing hold the event. The blessing is people really trying to bring it together.
Yeah, and I've gone that route and I've been okay happy with it. But this is an interesting new one. We're just going to run 19 copies of Large Farm and see where it gets us.
Yeah. Yep.
And then on the Fate side, we're playing a crab deck. We've got some attachments, we've got a couple battle actions, but then a lot of reactionary cards like I was talking about. I want to talk a bit about Colonial Conscripts because this card is absolutely bonkers. Um,
Yep. I mean, it's keeping me off of playing farms for a long time. I mean, I'm just not going to do it.
I think the farms are actually really good. I've
They are.
played the Vast Patty Field scheme is actually really awesome.
You're playing one in your deck to straighten guys. You're playing one Ashigaru forward, and it's because sometimes it's really good.
The thing is that when someone gets you with the Colonial Conscripts, you basically feel like the biggest chump ever to live.
Yeah.
So,
It. I mean, it's just a dance.
and I mean, I've gotten you even off of just the one for one abundant farmlands, and it's still just
And
you feel like that
some,
guy who bought the very last subprime mortgage, you know.
yeah, that's exactly it.
So that's a card, and we're playing long-term fruition rings. This is a combo that's going to be in pretty much every deck we preview for the next 6 months. So if you send us a deck list, we will add it to it.
Yep. I think it's one of those things where, you can, there's every fate deck you start to build, you get about 20 cards in, and then you're just kind of like, well, now what? And you're like, well, the rings are good, I'll play those. And then it's like, well, what if I play this karmic card that lets me easily play my rings? That's pretty good too.
Well, we talked about how there's a certain dearth of actions in Strict right now. Well, how about
Yep.
these repeatable, impactful battle actions? We'll play those.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, let's get to it.
Scoop. Shuffle multiple times to make sure it's fully randomized. I wish that there were a pile shuffle simulator. Like you pushed a button and it would put them all into the
And
stack
like it
for you.
shows you, it
Absolutely.
like shows you like what is happening there.
Yep. Really, really get me into the mood of the game.
Okay, so we're on our way. And Wacko does not approve of these two personalities.
Do you like
Um,
shuffling cards?
that's it.
No,
I see.
seriously.
I don't. I mean, I do. I don't. I don't know about like. Do I like shuffling? I've never really thought about it. I guess
Like
I'm
given the
not the sort of. I'm not one of those. So you know how there's a lot of players that like shuffle their cards like in the middle of their turn or whatever, waiting for people. I'm not that person. I don't do that. So
you
I
don't
will
do the
say
hand,
not.
the flip, the hand flip.
I do not. I do not do. I do not engage in that activity.
You're a lip
So I will
smacker
say.
though.
I'm happy. Yes, that's a thing I invented. I'm a big fan of the smack.
That tilts me.
Okay, so I bought a marketplace. It's not great, but I left two Kabrukis. That's pretty solid.
We'll see how it
We'll see.
goes. This is why you play test games. I think you're running some heavy gold over there, though, aren't you?
I am. I'm running a lot of holdings, right? So I'm running a 22-18 split, one wisdom gained, but three PPG because if you get to use PPG twice, you're gonna win.
Well, that happened.
Hey, Mulligan! Hey, buddy! Woo!
So
See
I
if you had
lose.
piled,
That's
if you had piled shuffled like you were supposed to.
that's right. So I'm gonna put these back in my deck, shuffle up, and start again. That exact thing happened to me actually at Gen Con, in my last game to make the cut in the grinders. So I missed the grinders because I'm a big scrub. But in one of the last games, I did exactly that. I flipped 12 personalities and then passed the turn.
Well, that's pretty. That's a rough one. I mean, it's statistically anomalous, but yeah.
Whoops. So we flip. Good lord, I just got cards flying at me from every direction.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's that like. You okay? There we go. So you're buying. So you did a cycle. You got two holdings.
Yep, yep. I got a little lag there, so some stuff happened. Okay, the game is finally underway.
That's it. Now we're all playing L5R. Okay, so 368. So I start with buy a famous bazaar, and put all my hopes into flipping a 2 for 2 holding, and take it in the face.
There's no justifying.
So I knew this was a thing that could happen, and I'm not excited about it, but I'm actually not as sad as you might think. Because buying a Shiraru puts me a turn further in Proclaim, and since Proclaiming is the main way I gain honor, like it's okay. And I flush the expensive guy and move on my way.
Okay. Flip, flip.
Lets me get the favor. Lets me, I mean, just getting those full claims in isn't a bad way to go.
So we can buy a guy and some gold. The question is if the guy does anything. He might. I mean, we could go all in. We'll see. It's more efficient, so we'll do it, and then see
Uh-oh.
where it gets us. Buy like these two, flush the 2 for 2. We got plenty of those. Let's see where that came from.
So I grab my favorite here.
I pass.
And I go to Dynasty. So he's 6. So that's about where I wanted to be. I get another guy and another gold and just keep on proclaiming. That's where I want to be. Get to 12. I really like Counting House. I really like Kabuki, but I want to see a personality. I have to think here for a moment and sort of figure out what the right. You're gonna probably take. I will leave them both. That might be a mistake, but that's where I choose to be. Okay.
All right. So there's our girl, who will make our dynasty flips more interesting.
You know what's really fun is when you get the 2 of them really early, and then it's just like, I will take all of these corrupt golds.
Yep. No, she's awesome. So we have a number of things to contend with. If we go for an attack here, we can plate these 2, 6, 7.
So I'm gonna talk around my hand a little bit. So I have this here, and people might be thinking like, "Oh man, I wonder if why is that still sitting there? He could have played it. He could have put that." And the reason is because I knew cards like this exist in my deck, and I don't need to yet. So why? My hand was not forced. There wasn't any reason to commit these cards to the table, so I'm not going to yet. Not until I feel like it's a necessity.
So I've decided to drop down in the meantime. The reason for
I
that
I
is
did
that
put my progressive into play. I did declare my allegiance.
okay. He's only at 12 honor. We're in no hurry. I could go all in, but it would hurt my long-term development, which is what we do not want to do right now. So I'm floating 1 gold off of my first large farm here. And we get another one. It could be a mistake to not buy Tyrannosuke, but I love gold. I can't help myself. We actually can't spend all of our gold. That's really funny.
Aww, aww.
I know, it's tough. So, here's a bunch of stuff. And you're up.
Okay, so I'm gonna stronghold on Kabuki and gain my 2 because I'm an honor deck and I want to gain honor.
Check.
I'll wait patiently for you. So I've got some options in terms of using Shiraru or not. He's always just gonna lose the honor. He's never going to give me the honor, unless it's a 1. So, do I want cards to be in the discard? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. So I'm not even gonna waste my time taking this action. It just doesn't do anything for me. So I drop on down, and I continue my plan of proclaiming every single turn. Puts me to 15. I buy my counting house, and now, I've been sitting on this Kabuki for a while, and that's because I prioritize having non-proclaim honor gains. The Kabuki, or the Poorly Placed Garden, is a really interesting one because if I can attach it and then use it, that's a big hit. But I don't think it's likely that that's going to happen, and I don't want to leave my provinces clogged in that way. So, flushy, draw a card.
Okay. So here we are again. 7, 2, 4, 6, and 2, 4, 5, and that one's free. So we can clear our provinces. That's just what we're gonna do. Again, he's only at 15. There's a danger and something that I've done in the past of going for it too quickly, letting him gain some honor, breaking one of our early attacks, and then stunting our development.
I use Soka in your Sayuki just because. And that's a mistake people play against those Shugenja-based decks where they run into Seeking the Way a lot and they end up giving their opponent 6, 8 points of honor unnecessarily.
And this is free. So we're not going to charge headlong in anything. And it's important to not feel rushed. I think next turn, obviously, we're just going to make our move. He'll go up to about 21. We still
So,
got
you
plenty of
know,
time to go from
gain
there.
my 2 to 17. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have the favor. I will long-term fruition to put out the Ring of Air.
Sure.
I was sort of waiting to see if I walked into Void, but I did not, but that happens. And then, you know, we drop down, buy a 3PH guy, buy the Kabuki.
I think I forgot
And
to draw for turn here.
go
Trying to
to
scroll
20.
up in this window, but you keep doing stuff.
Well, my turn is over now, so scroll away, good sir.
Good times. Good lord, this thing's obnoxious.
Yeah.
What's the last thing
I
I did?
mean, you should have had a total of 9 cards, right? You haven't done any extra stuff.
2, 4, 6.
No, 8.
Yeah,
You
I
should have a total
one
of
more.
8.
Yep.
No, because no, you forgot to count your colonial conscripts.
I did. No, I didn't. Because I got 2, 4, 6, 7 in hand, plus 1 for colonial
2,
conscripts. I
3,
should have 9.
7, 8, 9. No, you should only have 8. You haven't. I just drew to 9. You should have
Oh,
only had 8.
sure. Okay.
So
Good
you're
eye on
good.
top. So I cheated. I saw that card. I don't know. Was I happy to see that card? I usually am.
When in
Okay.
doubt, cheat.
What did,
It's a lot of gold over there.
yep. Okay, so we're gonna attach some stuff this turn. We flipped our big champ, but no rush. He'll be
You seem
around.
to put him into play somehow. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Okay, alright, don't worry about it. It's just a thing on my screen. It'll work out. I'm sure it's fine on yours. Okay, I'm going to use my Sokas. There's an interesting debate about whether I would try to use them on his guys or I use them on my guys. And I'm not sure I know the answer yet. So while I think about it, I will attach a official sanction and charge it up.
Okay. So you attach it. I'm gonna put down a Sohai's Ono. A Sohai's Ono.
Wowzers. It's so much worse than I thought. Okay, so I use my Sokas. I use one on Sayu. I target the 2 guys with followers.
Okay. So these are both 2/4s. I will mark it. And then I pass.
Me too.
And all of my guys will go at Kinta.
Okay. I'm gonna do some kind of defense. I just don't know how much. Probably these 2 guys defend. Yep, those 2 guys defend.
Okay. You have first engage.
Pass engage.
Me too.
Ranged 3 attack. I could reduce a 4. Somebody's gonna die. I'm gonna just try to kill some guys. It's not gonna have a great impact, but here's a range 3 attack on 3-force Mikado. Mikado is shockingly annoying against us. He sends us home and dishonors us. It's a nuisance.
I have a turtle shell for that.
Well, that is, as they say, a blowout.
and I will melee for Shiraru.
Okay, I'll get really sad.
Is that an open or a battle open to become very sad?
As an interrupt, I will get really sad. Okay. So if I do that, I'm pretty much in trouble either way. I will bravely run away with discretionary valor, draw a card, and gain an honor.
I will pass.
Which one was it? Kinta?
Kinte, yeah. Daidoji,
Dead.
Kuta, Kinta, Kente.
That's right. He's dead, Jim.
His name is Toby.
That's right.
So let's be a count for 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. It's about the same. So I just buy my champ, I guess. Because why not?
So, Strongholds Kabukis, use Kabukis 24. Use official sanction so the one guy with the Ono does not straighten.
Okay.
Attach a different official sanction. Charge up. I remember when this card was really good.
So I, as an open, will attempt to straighten the guy you sanctioned using Kasada, and that will fail.
Ah! Well played, sir. Draw a card with my counting house. There was a bit of a debate about do I counting house or do I use it to attach a PPG, but come on, guys. Like, come on. Get your stuff together. Okay, Dynasty I go. This thing comes out. Defensive Memorial attaches. You know, our pace is good. We're just not offering any sort of defense right now.
So I will pass open.
I will take a moment. Try to figure out what it is I'm supposed to be doing here to not get the crap kicked out of me. I will use Soka's on the guys who are still marked from last turn.
Very convenient for me. I
That's
pass.
Did I mark my Proclaim honor? I feel like I should be
I
higher.
believe you did not. I think you're 28.
Yes, I believe so. Okay.
Okay.
I guess I could have done some favory shenanigans last turn. Okay, and so I pass,
Everybody attacks the memorial.
and so you do. Is it time? Is it safe? Almost certainly not. So, I let it go because I'm a crane player and I'm a wimp.
Okie dokie. I will unmark my stuff this time. This is free. Man, free gold is great.
And no Proclaim. That's pretty terrible. 31. Counting house for a card.
16. So I'm gonna blow my deeds and words to negate your boosted Kabuki Theater troop.
Even worse. So this is where, trying to play into the environment using some of these cards. I mean, they're just all so terrible. I'd be much better off playing the generic honor staples, right? I'd be a lot better served with just more sent home and some encircled terrains or something. It's just not doing anything for me. And yeah, so that's what I get for trying to live outside the box. I guess I can use I guess I can use a sanction. He'll eat it. I don't even know. It's also so I use a sanction Yeah, there's literally no point there. Okay, so I don't do anything. And I just, this one charges up, I guess. Put it to 4. I think, yeah. Casada's trait randomly hit me in the face, too. Okay, and that is that.
Yeah, the +1 province strength really gets you.
The ranged attack thing is what I was referencing, but thanks, bud, thanks.
That's why I'm here.
It's not enough that you're pushing me down the stairs.
I gotta kick you while you're rolling. So we do these videos in groups of 2. I pass opens.
So, Casada the Tactician, that's pretty delightful. Watch this, though. So I'm going to use my official sanction on Casada to negate his next straightening.
Check.
That's right. Yeah, you know what's coming. Boom! Imperial Summons. Bow down, Casada.
Bow down before the one you serve.
That only took me, what, 2 cards and 4 gold to keep Casada out of battle for a singular turn. Totally worth it, man.
Okay, I pass.
What's that? Is my value town? No, my value town bus is broken down. I have no value for Paul. I am overpaying for a plane ticket, baby.
They don't take food stamps at Value Village.
That's right. No EBT for me. Okay, my next play. I really want to try. So I have to worry about him attacking 2 provinces. I don't know why I have to worry about it, because that'd be a terrible idea on his part. But maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll go for 2. So I soak up. The Sokas hit themselves. Screw you, man. I'm gonna have some force too.
Alright, I pass.
That's it. Pass.
Everybody goes at 1.
Come on, split. You know you want to split.
No broad. If I had a broad front, I'd split.
Yes, if only. That was a perfectly fair and balanced card that absolutely no one complained about.
I mean, multiples, it was always the best. It's like, I'll just casually take 3 on turn 2.
Well, how do I do this? So I can defend. First, I have to send home the guy with the Ono. What am I supposed to do? Not defend, and let my province go. Okay. Now I do have +2 province strength. Are you sure?
I'm positive it's sufficient. I am not, actually.
Ugh.
Then I buy all my stuff.
Come on. Okay, well, that's a guy.
6, 12, 4.
Do you have another Deeds and Words, seriously?
I do.
You're such a cock. Go to 30. So, the hilarious thing about this is that if he doesn't have the double Deeds and Words, I'm at 34, 37 fate cards. I get to cross. Probably still lose. But that does sort of highlight. I mean, I'm done. There's nothing that's gonna happen of interest here. I try, you blow it. I buy my thing. I go to 33, and you take it in the face pretty good here.
Yeah, I could even wait a turn, but that feels like rub-in-y.
Yeah, I mean, you can wait till I cross. It's not. I think you don't, because the only thing that probably beats you is like multiple encircled.
That's a fair point.
So don't let me draw to that.
Sure, just go for it because you can. I was gonna make a comment about if this were a Kota, if this were like top 4s at Gen Con, I would definitely wait another turn. It depends what my flip is, I guess. I'd look.
Yeah, I mean,
if it's 4 guys, I said for sure.
I'll show you my hand. Like, so I get to do another bow effect thing here with my sanction and summons, and I got block plus inexplicable, but it's just nothing. There's no.
Yeah.
I got nothing going on. I don't even know if I cross next turn, to be honest. I mean, I need to hit a good flip just to cross.
So
A
into
wisdom
it.
gain.
Uh,
But I mean, it's just the strength of I couldn't deal with you. Like I'm not playing meaningful cards, and you had some meaningful cards against me. Um,
I like so, and this is something that I ran into. So I was gonna say earlier, we do these videos in twos. So the video we just did before this was the Crane dueling versus Unicorns Zugenja deck. And one thing that came up a lot was the fact that I was playing all these 3-chi idiots and he was playing all these 4-chi idiots. And so they matched up really poorly and I felt really bad about my life. But you have to be able to take a step back and ask yourself, like, you're testing against an environment. That's why it's important to have gauntlets set up, and it's important to not just play against your buddy who always plays his Samusu honor deck every single game, no matter what, because you're not going to get a good sense of what's out there and what you need to prepare for.
yep.
So I say all of that as a way to point out that the ranged attack suite, it's possible. Now I haven't done enough strict testing to know, but it's entirely possible that the ranged attack stuff is super awesome, bonkers good.
I think I'd almost be I'm almost certainly better served by just so here there were often just dead cards. There were cards that I just couldn't combine into anything to have any impact to do anything. I mean, I would have been better served by blanket send home or just generic force reduction or pretty much anything else, right? So the cost of bow my guy to make a ranged 4 when you don't even have a good 4 force target, followed by getting crushed by a turtle shell. It's I'm probably reaching too much. I should probably just be playing send home. Soul Sacrifice. Deny the False Form has a gold cost associated with it, but maybe you cut a Defensive Memorial for the one that you can invest to unbow.
Mm.
Uh, I could play Boxable Shugenjin Seeking the Way. But I think beating the deck with multiple actions just isn't going to work. And it didn't work here because when you're opposed, your force is too big. So the best plays is sort of do something, run away with one of the runaway effects.
Yeah. And it's a problem that I've run into with the honor decks since forever, and something I always bring up when we play honor is that I've never felt like this deck had enough guys to go to battle and hang out.
Yep.
And you saw that in the one defense you made where you had two guys and you really wanted both of the guys that they could stay there and do some stuff. You did one thing and then I killed your guy and then you're just stuck with your hand.
Yep. And so it just didn't come together. So these things happen.
On my end, like my hand is pretty poopy here. I'm looking at it and I got two rings. I've got like this anvil and I've got the ring of void and like strength and subtlety. These are all cards that do nothing, but I've got a second turtle shell and a ring of earth. And it really shows you that when you've got a billion force, all you need is a couple reactionary cards and you're all set.
Yeah, it's frustrating in that it feels like I should be able to do more, and there's definitely different draws and different cards. But you're gold developed in a way with the Mikados, and you got a lot of guys out there, and I wasn't close to fast enough. If I was playing a favors wheels within wheels shell, maybe if I had like a flashy technique, I could have like done something. But I mean, it was all poop empty for me, and that's gonna happen sometimes.
So this was maybe a mismatched video. It happens sometimes.
Yeah, I mean these two decks. There's definitely a configuration of Crane Honor that matches up better against you, and maybe we should try that some other time.
All right. Parting shots.
Uh, don't let me being demolished by this crap deck make you think Crane Honor is not a real deck. It's a real deck. It's a good deck, and you should play more. You should play some games against it. I promise.
All right. So if
And
you
that's
guys,
what I have to say. I have nothing else to say about that.
yeah, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, compliments, insults, uh, let us know. Drop us a comment. Send Paul a Facebook message.
That's right.
You're making a Facebook page for this enough talk thing, right?
I just assumed you had already done that. You're the computer savant.
I don't know about the word savant. I don't know about the word
I,
computer.
I went to the Facebook and it got like an error message. It didn't even come up proper, so I don't know what I did.
Yeah. Okay. Send us an email. Bother Paul.
That's
He
right.
uh, he likes to talk.
Yeah, so
Otherwise,
everybody communicate with me.
that's right. Otherwise, this most certainly has been enough talk. I'm Jesse. That's Paul. We'll see you next
Hang loose.
time.